Thank the gentlelady. Now recognize the chairman of the Health Subcommittee and the co-chairman of today's joint committee, Mr. Guthrie, for 5 minutes for his opening statement.
Thank you. I welcome all of you guys here today. Good to have you here before us, and my condolences as well to Assistant Secretary O'Connell and her family. A little over a week ago, President Biden says his administration would end the COVID-19 public health emergency on May the 11th, and I'm glad the President formally announced he would end the PHE and relinquish the emergency powers. However, after over 2 years into the Biden presidency, Congress and the American people have little to no visibility into nor input on the administration's pandemic response, and we're going to change that today. Today is the first of many opportunities for both members of this subcommittee and by extension our constituents to ask important questions about decisions made by our nation's leading public health officials in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. My hope is that this work leads to reforms that make us better prepared for pandemics and other public health security threats in the future. To start, public trust in our public health institutions is at a low, and this is driven by federal government's misguided and inconsistent preparation for and response to the COVID-19 pandemic. This is heightened by confusing, sometimes conflicting communication and guidance coming from our public health agencies. In the earliest days of the pandemic, the CDC stumbled rolling out testing kits. The Food Drug Administration took too long to authorize diagnostics, and the Strategic National Stockpile was ill-equipped with deficient and expired equipment. Thankfully, Operation Warp Speed was able to cut through some of this red tape and bureaucracy to facilitate the rapid development of vaccines and therapies that help prevent serious illness and death from COVID-19 and put us on the road towards normalcy. The pandemic has also exposed how our public health agencies failed at their core functions to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. The National Institutes of Health flattened HHS-wide rules on conducting proper oversight of potential pandemic pathogen research. After living through COVID-19, the origins of which still largely remain unknown, it is absolutely clear that we must require strict federal oversight of these risky research projects. And of COVID-19 origin, NIH's refusal to acknowledge any suggestion that the COVID-19 virus may have traveled from nature to a lab to humans continues to fuel the controversy and questions around it. To discover the truth and instill confidence back in our federal research programs, why not engage in a robust, honest, and transparent dialogue and investigation? Instead, federal officials work with social media companies to censor those who offered a differing viewpoint, further fueling public distrust in our public health institutions. Unfortunately, the Biden administration's one-size-fits-all approach to the pandemic has only made our response even more challenging between inconsistent CDC COVID-19 guidance policies, testing challenges, the FDA rationing of key therapeutics, to name a few. Among these mistakes carried significant real-world consequences. Kids and parents were left with limited options for in-person instruction because the nation's largest teachers union offered line-by-line edits on reopening guidance. This robbed our kids of the benefits of in-person instruction and has had devastating effects on kids struggling with anxiety and depression at unprecedented levels. As members of this committee, we also cannot permit mission creep into our public health agencies. We must ensure our federal partners are focused on their core mission of preventing, preparing for, and responding to public health emergencies. Luckily, we have a chance to address many of these systemic issues that hindered our federal response to the COVID-19 pandemic. I look forward to working with my colleagues on this subcommittee, and I look forward to working with our witnesses here today to consider appropriate reforms as we work to reauthorize the Pandemics and All Hazard Preparedness Act, or PAPA, that will be led by our colleague, Mr. Hudson. Doing so could make a difference between life and death of millions of Americans. I thank you, and I yield back.